You're done.
Now sharing close చేయాలి. Stop sharing.
Stop sharing. Done. All set.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
నాది ఇది ఓరియంటేషన్ కూడా సరిపోయిందా, లేకపోతే ల్యాప్టాప్ ఏమైనా పైకి పెట్టాలా కిందకి దించాలా చెప్పాలి.
సార్ మీడియాలో ఉన్న న్యూస్ పేపర్ అంతా చక్కగా ఉన్నారండి. నో ప్రాబ్లం సార్. పర్ఫెక్ట్లీ డన్.
ఆల్ రైట్ అండి.
నాది నెల్సన్ మండేలా మా గోత్రం.
కాదు 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 కాదు
స్టేట్ మ్యాన్.
ఫెయిర్ కలర్.
ఇవాళ పొద్దునే నల్లగొండ జిల్లాలో వచ్చి ఒక ఐరన్ ఏజ్ సైట్ ఒకటి చూసి వచ్చాను. దాన్ని ప్రొటెక్ట్ చేయడానికి వాళ్ళందరితో కొంచెం దెబ్బలాడి వచ్చాను. ఇవన్నీ ఏదో నడుస్తుంది.
అదేమి కనిపించట్లేదు మీ ఫేస్ లో.
రేపు వస్తుందండి. రేపు అన్ని న్యూస్.
ఐ థింక్ మేడం జయశ్రీ గారు.
Yes.
Hello ma'am, namaste. Shrikant here, robotics, Rotarian.
I know, I saw you.
Yes ma'am, just now I saw you.
How are you?
Great ma'am, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
So nice.
Shrikant ji.
Yes sir.
Jayashree ma'am has been encouraging me from behind the curtain for whatever I do in the name of heritage, but she is doing on a large scale, but I am in a very 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 minimum scale.
Please.
Sir, if she is your backbone, that is super, andi.
Don't listen to him, he's joking.
No ma'am, no.
Nobody believe you.
Ma'am, everyone of Vizag knows your contributions to this culture.
Thank you so much, thank you.
Yes ma'am. AVRK sir, namaste andi. Welcome sir.
Thank you.
Priyanka ma'am.
Yes sir, we'll start sir. Yes
please,
sir.
Please.
Good evening members of INTAC, Rotary Club, Walkers Club and History group who have joined us today. And I'm really thankful to E. Shiv Nagireddy Garu for joining us today to deliver his talk on the Buddhist sites of North Coastal Andhra Pradesh. This is our first meeting of the year for INTAC, and I welcome you all to this. I request Latika to introduce Shri E. Shiv Nagireddy Garu to our group. Start, baby.
Good evening, everyone. Dr. Emani Shivnagi Reddy was born on 15th April 1955 at Valiveru in Sundur Manda in Guntur district in Andhra Pradesh in an agricultural family. Despite his background, Dr. Reddy was very keen in pursuing his studies in the field of traditional architecture and sculpture from the esteemed institute of SV Institute of Architecture and Sculpture in Tirupati. Dr. Reddy's family were the patrons of the village temple for the past 3 generations.
Voice, Nayara.
Latika, you will have to unmute.
Oh.
Latika ji, you're
now you're okay. You're unmuted.
All right. Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, it is audible, ma'am.
Now is fine.
So I'll just start from where I left off, I guess. So despite Dr. Reddy's background in coming from an agricultural family, he was very keen in pursuing his studies in the field of traditional architecture and sculpture from the esteemed Institute of SV Institute of Architecture and Sculpture in Tirupati. Dr. Reddy's family were the patrons of the village temple for the past 3 generations, and Dr. Reddy's father overlooked the priestly duties of the said temple. It is this temple that would inspire Dr. Reddy in his chosen field. After finishing his studies in Tirupati, Dr. Reddy did his master's in Indian ancient history in Osmania University in Hyderabad. Subsequently, he pursued his PhD also from Osmania University, where his research paper was on evolution of building technology in early and medieval period. This was later converted into a book. Dr. Reddy has pursued many postgraduate degrees. One of them is Masters in Tourism Management. In 1978, Dr. Reddy joined the Endowments Department of Andhra Pradesh. 3 years later, in 1981, he was invited by the Department of Archaeology and Museum of Government of Andhra Pradesh to join the department as well. Now, during the course of his employment with the Endowments Department of Andhra Pradesh, he was credited for his work on the restoration and conservation of 80 temples in Andhra Pradesh. Then Dr. Reddy had also rescued some 100 temples that dated from 7th century BC to 17th century BC from being submerged in the Sri Sailam reservoir. He transplanted these temples to save them. He also conserved many temples from the Kakatiya dynasty in Warangal and Karimnagar district. Dr. Reddy has overlooked construction of 500 temples all over Andhra Pradesh as per Silpa and Agama Sastras. Dr. Reddy was also invited to speak on art and architecture of the Telugu people at the first World Telugu History Congress scheduled on 14th and 15th July 2012 at London, organized by UKTA. Professor Reddy has written and edited many books, nearly 50 books and some 500 articles on history, culture, archaeology, Buddhism, and tourism. Dr. Reddy has served at many prestigious institutions and government departments in and around Andhra and Telangana. Now, without any further delay, I would like to call upon Dr. Imani Sivanagi Reddy to address Intact Vishakhapatnam chapter.
Thank you, Latika. Sir, may I request you to start your talk, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
At the outset, good evening to all the learned participants. At the outset, I would like to thank at the same time one to Miyanka ma'am and another Latika ji, who have given what we call all the adjectives to my small CV. Thanks a lot. And I also thank Jay Sri Hatangadi madam on this occasion, who is responsible for introducing me to many other circles. Then now, it is my great pleasure. I feel it a pleasure to associate with Intact Vizag chapter, which is dynamic, what we call in many spheres, introducing new programs, taking the term heritage to the grassroots level through schools and other media. Then it is again, they have also been giving wonderful guidance while conserving the monuments in Department of Archaeology and Museums on the North Coastal Andhra. Yes. My presentation will be on Buddhist sites in North Coastal Andhra. May I now share the screen, sir?
Yes, please.
एक minute. Yes, that's fine. Sir, F5 రావట్లేదు. Yes. You all know that when we want to speak something on, or if we want to go around Buddhist sites in North Coastal Andhra, the North Coastal Andhra confines now to Srikakulam, then Vijayanagaram, Visakhapatnam, and East Godavari. So it is in between the rivers. What we call is originally calling it is known as Trikalinga or Mukkalinga. That is three Kalingas. One is Utkala, Madhya Kalinga, and Dakshin Kalinga. Now, in the what we call the present day North Coastal Andhra comprises both the Madhya Kalinga, the Central Kalinga, and Dakshin Kalinga up to the Godavari River. So, my presentation would what we call confine only to this particular geographical locale. Next, there are many sites. So far, for the past 220 years of research conducted right from the British period, even till today, we have identified more than 200 Buddhist sites all along the coast, and with a special reference to North Coastal Andhra, we have more than 100 sites. Among these 100 sites, 90% are clustered only in Visakhapatnam and Srikakulam region only. This is very, very important. Why? There is scope for trade. There was a trade route by water, trade route by land, and again, the communication system was so well developed during those days, right from 6th century BC onwards. It triggered the factors for advent of Buddhism to this particular tract of the country, that is North Coastal Andhra or Kalinga Andhra. Yes. Now, I think I need not give the introduction of the origin of Buddhism and spread of Buddhism in different parts of the country during the lifetime of the master and after the Mahaparinibbana of Lord Buddha. You all know that we are not supposed to say that after the death of the Buddha, we have to always say like after Buddha attained the Mahaparinibbana. That is what we have to say. So after the Mahaparinibbana of the Buddha, and one more thing I want to add you is, many people say that Buddha has come to Orissa, Buddha has come to down south. No, it is not at all true. Buddha never come down south right from Bodh Gaya onwards. From Bodh Gaya, he moved to Rajagriha. From Rajagriha to Nalanda. Only upwards he has gone up to what we call the Varanasi, that is Saranganath, Sarnath. Then towards the north, he has visited many places for 45 years. That is a truth in fact. But he never visited South India. But even though Buddha didn't tread on the Dakshinapada, but the Dhamma pronounced, proclaimed by the Dhamma reached every nook and corner of South India. As part of the entire process, Buddhism also reached the coastal tracts of Andhra Pradesh, now calling as Kalinga Andhra, way back during the lifetime itself. There are two or three what we call historical anecdotes how Buddhism spread to the Kalinga Andhra. Next, I will show you. Yes, Buddhism, we have to understand even in the coastal tracts of Andhra, Buddhism has witnessed three phases of development, namely Theravada Buddhism from 5th century BC to 1st century AD, and even after that also continued, but it was during that particular period. Next is Mahayana Buddhism. You all know what Mahayana Buddhism is. The difference between Theravada Buddhism and Mahayana Buddhism, I will just give you only one line. In Theravada Buddhism, that is Thera means Stavira, that is the elder monks. It denotes the elder monk. Then they wanted only to confine to the teachings of the Buddha only, not even commentaries. They do not want to deviate anything. They only respect the Triratna, that is Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. That is what we call Triratna Vandana. No Buddha image was conceived during that period. So Theravada again confines only to attain Nibbana, that is the total relief of from the cycle of birth and death, for himself, for the only Thera. So it is called in a later day by the Mahayanists as it is Henayana, that is lesser vehicle. Hena means it is not in derogatory, but which denotes that it is a very smaller vehicle confined to attain Nibbana for a singular person. But on the other hand, Mahayana Buddhism from 1st century AD to 5th century AD and also continued later on denotes that Nibbana is not what we call for the only one person, but Nibbana could also be attained by all the living beings along with a man who is actually in the process of attaining Bodhisattvahood and then to be Buddha or the Buddha. So that is the difference. So it accommodates maximum all the living beings. Hence it is called as Mahayana Buddhism. And what is the difference? The difference is that during the Theravada Buddhism, only Buddhist monks worship Triratna. Then again, the symbols, Buddha was worshipped in form of symbols, that is where he sat for meditation, that is Vajrasana, and attained what we call Samyak Sambodhi. Then again Bodhi tree under which he attained the Samyak Sambodhi. Then similarly, those only a few symbols for Dharma Chakra. The what we call is Dhamma Chakra is that he attained Samma Sambodhi, and then he come to know through his own experience of contemplating meditation and again attaining the state of Samadhi. Then He again from knowledge to prajna, he attained prajna. That prajna is none other than what we call pratitya samutpada, that he for the first time proclaimed that the phenomenon of the world, that everything is dependent on something or the other. This is a very greatest discovery of Lord Buddha. And he also said that dukkha, everywhere the suffering or sorrow, not sorrow, suffering is prevailing. Suffering is the root cause. Suffering emanates from your own what we call desires. In a simple time, I am telling. So if you can control all these things, you can cessate suffering. There is suffering. Suffering can be cessated. There is a way to cessate, can be relieved from suffering. This is what we call. In other terms, he said the Arya Ashtanga Marga, based on Sila, Samadhi, and Panna, Prajna. So, if I go into the details of these things, it will be what we call going into so deep of Buddhism, but it is left to the learned participants. They can go into deep of it. Then, the difference of Mahayana is when Theravada monks venerated Lord Buddha in symbolic form, Mahayana Buddhism, the monks have introduced Buddha as human being, as Lokottara. That is, he is the greatest man of the world, Loka Uttara. Such a great personality ever the world has produced. So, in that form, Buddha was conceived in human form. For the first time in Gandhara region, Buddha image was created, and slowly, a little later, Buddha was also conceived in Madhura in native idiom. Then again, in a more dynamic way in Amaravati School of Art. So among all the three schools, Amaravati School of Art is considered the most dynamic. You can see not frontal, side, etc., but 3D or 4D images also. Such is the great of this thing, and almost Buddha images when you see, Gandhara Buddhas are with foreign element, but native element, your Madhura images won't be that much attractive, but Amaravati School of Art Buddha images are world famous, known for their serenity, calm, and they represent 32 Mahapurusha Lakshanas in Buddha's body. So that is the difference. After that is sharing of merit is also there. What is sharing of merit? If I go to a Buddhist vihara or arama, I also worship Buddha for not only for me, for my family members also. This is sharing of merit was introduced during Mahayana Buddhism. Next, Vajrayana phase. This is a total departure from the regular way of Buddhist, what we call Buddhist way. In the sense, in Theravada Buddhism, Buddha was worshipped in the form of symbols. In Mahayana Buddhism, Buddha was worshipped in human form, iconic. Then in Vajrayana, what happens is many number of gods, godlings were added because of the fact that what is Vajrayana? Vajrayana is, it is a very shortcut method for attaining Buddhahood. But in Mahayana, you have to achieve it by attaining all the 10 paramitas or Shat paramitas. That is a great long procedure. You all know that Siddhartha Gautama as Bodhisattva took 547 lives to attain Samma Sambuddhi. Then in Vajrayana, what they taught was, they invented a very shortcut method to attain Buddhahood. It is called as Vajrayana. Mandala type of worship was introduced. Then again, mantras were introduced. Then whole rituals went into Buddhism. Hence, it is called as Vajrayana, or the thunderbolt cult, or Mantrayana, or Tantrayana, like that. So this is a very brief introduction to understand that all the three phases, North Coastal Andhra witnessed the development of all the three phases of Buddhism, namely Theravada Buddhism, Mahayana Buddhism, and Vajrayana Buddhism, sometimes simultaneously. For example, at some Mahayana sites, Theravadam continued, at some Mahayana sites, Vajrayanam continued, and right from Theravada, some Theravada sites transformed into Mahayana, transformed into Vajrayana sites, where we have ample evidences at many of the North Coastal Andhra sites that we are now going to witness through some of the slides at sites like Sankharam, then your Salihundam, etc. Yes, this is a very brief introduction on Buddhism in this part of the country. Yes, I said that advent of Buddhism was as long as anterior, that is, we can trace it to the lifetime of Lord Buddha and continued up to the 14th century AD. We have an inscription of Anantavarma Chodaganga in Jijingi plates, copper plates. It says that Salihunda was even in state of flourish with Mundiya bhikkhus, that is, bhikkhus with clean shaven were seen prolifically on the Arama of Salihundam. It clearly denotes that for more than 2000 years Buddhism flourished in North Coastal Andhra, and it left an indelible mark in terms of stupas, chaityas, aramas is consisting of all these things. Then brick architecture, stone architecture, cave architecture, and again you also have got a specific art form. It is totally different from Amaravati School of Art in a later phase, and we call it as what we call Kalinga Buddhist art. This is a very brief introduction. Again, I would like to remind you that the researchers went right from what we call 1890s, continued during the entire 20th century, and even in 21st century, that is, we are in 2021. Yes, many number of new Buddhist sites have come forth to light and still coming. Though what we need to do is that we have a little bit of patience, go around the places, and even in the surroundings of the famous Buddhist sites, you find little bit of Buddhist remnants there. Yes, all the three phases. Now Buddhism spread in Andhra Desha. Yes, after that what happened? There was a gap of 200 years after the Mahaparinibbana of the Buddha. Then what happened? Asoka Maurya, the greatest emperor of India ever produced, such a great man. His outlook is cosmopolitan. He never confined only to particular religion. Though he liked Buddhism, he adopted Buddhism. He never said that Buddhism is the only one good religion. No, he said that people can have different faiths to practice. Please respect, while you practice your religion, you please respect other faiths also as you respect your own faith. Such a great emperor with the spirit of the Buddha Dhamma, that he was what we call patient enough for other religions also and encourage it. Then what he did? You all know that he was the Chakravartin of the Jambu Dvipa. During those times, India was not called as Bharatakanda, Bharatavarsha. It was only from 1st century BC onwards. Kalinga Karavela Satigumpa inscription mentions that Bharatavarsha for the first time in inscription. That is 1st century BC. Then earlier it was known as Jambu Dvipadhipati, like that. So entire Jambu Dvipa, he built 84,000 Buddhist stupas. What is the secret of 84,000 number? The number is that Buddha, from his age of 35 to 80, when he attained Mahaparinibbana, the last speech was Mahaparinibbana Sutta. Until that point of time, he delivered discourses 84,000. You all know that most of his discourses are found in Tripitakas. So I'm not going into Buddhist literature. So the 84,000 stupas, why he did build was for each and every discourse or sutra or the sutta uttered by the Buddha, he wanted to Christian it permanently in the form of stupa or chaitya. So he built 84,000 stupas all over the Jambu Dvipa end. Yes, what he did was he dispatched missionaries to different parts of the country. So this part of the country, coastal Andhra, one Mahadeva Tera has come. He was given an assignment that go preach Buddha's Dhamma, see to that people adopt, not convert, no conversion, adopt, in the sense if they are convinced, they can adopt the Buddhism faith. That was the freedom that Asoka has given through the missionaries like Mahatera. Yes. Now, after that, he also proclaimed his edicts, what we call Asokan edicts. We got one small piece of information from what we call is from Salihundam in North Coastal Andhra, that is Rano, Asoka Sirino. After that, we have got a small pillar inscription at Dhanyakataka. After that, all the 13 major rock edicts and 2 minor rock edicts are found inscribed at a place called Erragudi or Rajulamandagiri in Kurnool district. So it is a clear evidence, testimonial, that the entire land was under the cover of Buddha Dhamma. So this is a clear evidence. Then followed by, after Asoka, Satavahana, there is a small gap. Small principalities have come. What are they were? Kubiraka from Bhattiprolu, Raja Somaka from Vadamanu. Like that, so small kings have come, and followed by Sirisada dynasty. Next was a great wave of the Buddha Dhamma during the Satavahana epoch. Such a good number of sites have come up, sprang up, spreading the Dhamma. Every village was Buddhist, and the entire Andhra Desha was filled with the hummings of Tiratana, Buddham Saranam Gacchami, Dhammam Saranam Gacchami, Sangham Saranam Gacchami, humming wherever you go. If you just look this side, thousands of monks going from one place to another place. If you look from that side, thousands of monks coming from that side and this side. Hence, many number of inscriptions in Andhra Desha refer to Chaturdisha Arya Bhikshu Sangha. That is, this is a place where holy Buddhist monks will meet from all the directions of Jambudvipa. So that is what we call the greatness of this particular Kalinga Andhra. So followed by many number of dynasties next to Satavahanas is Ikshvakus, Vishnukundis, then Eastern Gangas, Eastern Chalukyas, etc. in terms of political dynasties. Yes, it went up to 14th century AD. As I said, after that what happened was the Hindu religion, not the Hindu religion, the so-called Vedic Brahmanism was so predominantly exercising its influence on the entire coastal Andhra. Buddhism was actually given no scope for any type of patronage. So Buddhist monks, since there is no patronage, they slowly started moving from this particular tract to Sri Lanka, Myanmar, other places of India. So what happened was, as a result, the once upon a time much flourished sites with what we call the light of Asia, like that Deepala Dinne. All the monasteries were well lit during the day, night time, and during the daytime with the preachings on Dhamma. So those what became was slowly decayed, ruined, and the flourishing state has come to the total decay state. So what happened? There was nothing. No monk was there. Even Huyan Sang said that the decay began by 7th century AD. Like that, what happened was, after 14th century, there was no patronage, no Buddhism continued in this part of the country. So up to that point of time only, we have got ample evidences in terms of aramas, caves, and other sopas, chaityas, inscriptions, etc. So basing on this, we can reconstruct the history of Buddhism in North Coastal Andhra. Now I am moving to the actual sites. Yes, these are undivided Andhra Pradesh. 303 Buddhist sites were there, among which these were a few. Kindly look at these things. These are only the important Buddhist sites in Andhra Pradesh. Right from your Srikakulam, Barua, Saripalli to down Godavari River, only up to Godavari River. Aduru was the last. Aduru is the last phase. It is a wonderful site. Beginning with the Saripalli northern, this thing, there are many such sites we come across through slides. Next, yes, this is the concentrated cluster of the Buddhist sites that we are now going to discuss. Yes. Yes, this is classification of Buddhist pre-Satavahana, Satavahana, post-Satavahana. That is only for convenience of the time. Dantapuram is the very first site which really received Buddha Dhamma during the lifetime of the Buddha. It mentions that Kalinga Nagara, it was mentioned as Kalinga Nagara during the lifetime of the Buddha. Then after that, as I mentioned to you, Buddhas, after attaining Buddha Mahaparinirvana, there was great demand for the holy relics of Lord Buddha. You all know that it went up to a war of relics. Then there was Drona, a Brahmin. He says that why are you quarreling among yourselves? Everybody likes and loves and pays great homage to the relics of Buddha. Yes, my dear kings, 8 kings, please maintain calm. I will distribute you equally. So he distributed the holy relics of Lord Buddha equally to 8 kings, and for himself he kept the canine tooth for himself. Then what happened? After the holy relics were taken to the respective Janapadas, this holy canine tooth was with Drona, and Drona sends to Kalinga Nagara through a monk called Kematera. This Kematera, kindly listen to me for 2 minutes only. This Kematera brought the holy relic right from what we call Kusinara to Dantapura. We know now Dantapura was later named, earlier it was known as Kalinganagara, where there was a king called Dantapura king was Brahmadatta. He's a very, very nice man. He received the tooth relic, enshrined there, built a stupa. Every day he was worshipping. And one of his cousins by name called Gohasiva, he was also liking Buddha very much. He was greatly influenced. He also started worshipping Lord Buddha and his relic and the stupa. What happened on one day? Jambudvipadipati, he was ruling from Patliputra. He heard that the holy relic of Lord Buddha was there in Kalinganagara. He dispatches his army, attacked Dantapura. Then he wanted to take away the tooth relic. Then what happened was Gohasiva takes it. He says, yes, Gohasiva takes it to Patliputra. He was actually worshipping it. After that, what happened? One of his enemies, Dhiradhara Narendra, he actually attacked Patliputra for tooth relic. Jambudvipadipati defeated him. Again, the tooth relic for safety and security was sent back to Dantapura. It was there in Dantapura for quite long time. After that, what happened? Some more people, Kematara Narendra wanted again attack Kalinganagara and take away this thing. Knowing why this much disturbance, Gohasiva has a daughter by name Hemamalini, and the king of Ujjaini, his name was Dantakumara. He came to visit the Dantapura. Then Gohasiva got his daughter given to Dantakumara. Then they both married. Gohasiva requested, my dear son-in-law and daughter, you please take this holy relic to Sri Lanka, deposit it with Mahasena, the king of Sri Lanka, so that it will at least be in safer hands. Otherwise, the people in Jambudvipa were quarreling with them. So that is the reason it went to Sri Lanka. While going to Sri Lanka, what happened was it was the only sea route, and there was a shipwreck, and that ship came to what we call near Ghantasala in Krishna district, a place called Majarika, and after a long search, tooth was recovered by the Nagas and handed over to again Dantakumara. Dantakumara finally, along with his wife Hemamalini, moves to Sri Lanka, hands over to Sri Lanka king. Then it was right from 5th century BC onwards in Sri Lanka, now in Kandy. This is the story of the tooth relic connected with Dantapura. Yes. Now, what are the evidences? How are you saying that Dantapura was that much old? Yes. Now, kindly look at, this is the fortification right from 5th century BC onwards, encompassing 1500 acres now. We have excavated a very small area. Yes. Now see, during the 1999 and 2001, we have excavated, in which I was also part of it. We got 5 such stupas excavated, 5 stupas, Buddhist stupas. Along with these things, what we come across was, yes, antiquities, valuable antiquities of pottery. Northern block polished ware is the testimonial to the site, which takes to 5th century BC. Again, you also have on the right side Nabudware. This is from northern coastal Andhra, only from Sisupalgar and Varisan sides. So this clearly proves that the site was very much in vogue during 5th century BC. Yes, now all other antiquities from the Vihara of that place. So these are some of the things which clearly attest the fact that it was a king. Yes, now you can see Dantakumara along with Hema Malini, they are taking the holy tooth relic of Lord Buddha to Sri Lanka. Yes, now the Sri Lanka king, he himself received the holy tooth relic of the Buddha. On the right side bottom, in the black and white picture, you can see the tooth relic of Lord Buddha. What we call erected on a lotus, golden lotus flower. Yes, the topmost you can see is Dalada Dalada Malige. That is the palace of the holy relic of Lord Buddha. Then this is the entire Kandy monastery. Down bottom on the left, you can see Rajapaksha. He, all the kings and queens, whatever it may be, the whole royalty right from the beginning, they were very ardent devotees of Lord Buddha. And you can see the president of Sri Lanka was offering prayers to the relic casket, which is in gold, in sopa shape. I think the participants can witness it. Yes, now this is the what we call the place, Dalada Maliga, that is in Kandy. This is the place. You see, the tooth relic has gone from Andhra Pradesh. We have donated it only for the safe custody. Yes, thanks to Sri Lanka, for over 2,500 years, it has been kept on a very safe mode. But you see, their dedication of decorating and amount of respect that they are giving to tooth relic. But we do not even continue the excavations at Dandapura. That is the saddest part on the world. Again, we were not able to build a small stupa to commemorate, nor to conserve the stupas that were excavated. Yes, I admit even I am also part of it. Thank you. This is the holy tooth relic in Kandy. You see, entire walls, etc., is coated with gold. Great devotion. Yes, now coming to another important Buddhist sites is Srikakulam Salihundam. It is located on the right bank of river Vamsadhara. Vamsadhara has seen many civilizations flourished and disappeared, but it is witnessing what we call the flourishing state to the decay of Buddhism on its right shore at a place called Salihundam. Salihundam means what we call the big heap of grain, like Dhanya Kataka. Yes, you can. This was in 1908 and 7 and 8. Rao Bahadur Gidu Ramamurthy Pantulu of the senior has for the first time brought to the light. After that, many Britishers have excavated, and in 1953-54, R. Subramaniam and K. Krishnamurti have excavated thoroughly, laying bare all the wonderful, important archaeological monuments. You can see that is the stupa in wheel shape, and here it is actually stupa chaitya. In between there is a stupa amidst the chaitya. Yes, again this is a wonderful site. If you go there, you really want to dedicate yourself as a Buddhist by taking ordination as a monk, leaving the modern dress code. That is the magic of the site. It is again stupa chaitya. Yes, this is the stupa chaitya built of bricks and again stone slabs. Yes, the entire vihara, it is constructed on a terraced model. That is, each and every low-lying terrace has been leveled, and the leveled part was used as a place for congregation or a vihara or an entrance, etc. Yes, as I said earlier, right from the Theravada to Mahayana to Vajrayana, this is a wonderful site. You can see good number of Vajrayana sites, Vajrayana sculptures. There is Tara, then Akshobhya, then Amitabha, Marichi, etc. If I want to go to give details, Amitabha Buddha, etc., it takes a lot of time, but kindly browse the net and know many details on these names. Yes, this is Marichi. So fantastically meticulously modeled on condylite stone. It is very difficult to carve a sculpture on condylite stone, but the dedication of the Buddhist sculptors ultimately resulted into delineating such a wonderful life-size sculpture of Marichi. Next. Yes, one more thing, Jagatipadu, exactly on the opposite side of Salihundam. On the left bank, right bank, you have Salihundam. On the left bank, you have a place called Jagatipadu, where there is also a stupa. It is in Vanita Mandalam. Then the sad part of it is, and I recollect the words that Gurujad Apparao Garu has said that we have exported Buddhism and imported terrorism. Like that, this is the place where we have simply removed Buddhism from here, erased it from the layers of the memory, and a Shiva temple was constructed right on the top of the stupa. This is the saddest part. They say we really don't know. What can we do? And what we are doing? Yes, it is our own fault that we allow people to construct like this because lack of the awareness, and we should take up campaigns of awareness on Buddhism and Buddhist sites so that such interventions could be prevented. Yes, now, yes, can you see? This is what we call a vihara. Some of the remains of the arama, and the bricks were 2 feet long, 1 feet width, and 7 centimeters, 3 centimeters in thickness. Such is the ethos and values of the people, not this 3-inch brick, 4-inch brick. Now we are using useless bricks. These are some of the tiles and chamfered and decorated bricks that were used to raise a pillar. Yes, these are some of the potteries. These pottery are pure red ware. We call it as a deluxe ware. If we clean, it will be shining. Yes, now we are moving to Ramatirtham. It is known as Bodhikonda. Very recently, it is very much famous. It is very popular in all TVs and all other media, Ramatirtham. I am not going to dwell on it. That Ramatirtham, originally it was renamed as Ramatirtham, but it was known as Bodhikonda. Do you know? People also called it as Rakshasa Pansa. That is the place of the Rakshasas. Rakshasas are what we call exactly Devata, divine people into Rakshasas. Na? So Buddhist monks were considered as Rakshasas because they, in the perception of others, Buddha never believed in the existence of Creator God. Similarly, Buddhist monks also followed. They are not believers in the existence of Creator God. So they branded Buddhist monks as Rakshasas, and it is known as Rakshasa Pancha. Devils. Yes, this is the caves, natural cave under which Buddhist monks contemplated their meditation. Yes, again, can you see? Such a panoramic view. They went up the hill. Why on the hills? There are 2 types of schools, on the plains and on the hills. On the hills, monasteries are called as Sailia sect. Sailia means Saila, hills. So these are because they ensure quiet, calm, serenity amidst the lush, green, picturesque atmosphere. It is so congenial for meditation. So henceforth, most of the Buddhist sites are located on the hills. Yes, you can also see what a wonderful, so beautifully carved. You cannot even pierce a small pin in between the layers of these things. Such is the greatest skill of the Buddhist sculptors. There are 26 categories of Buddhist sculptors. I wrote a book on Prachinandra Bauddha Silpullu in Telugu. Next, yes, this is again another thing. Yes, now we are moving to another set of Buddhist sites, Babikonda in Visakhapatnam district. Why it is called as Babikonda? That is the hill of the cisterns. What are the cisterns? Cisterns are rock-hewn troughs to store water during the rainy season to facilitate the Buddhist monks during the Vassavasa, rainy retreats. Buddha said, my dear monks, don't move during the rainy season because small living beings start coming up from the soil, and even your small grass family will also start coming up. With your treading, they will die. Don't cause any damage to the living beings. So he said, one of the Panchasila is that don't kill anything, even Jiva Himsa. Yes. So it is called as Babikonda because of the rock cut cisterns on the hill. It is a very big monastery wherein 80 Buddhist monks could be accommodated at a time, and rest of the people could also stay overnight for these things, and laity used to come and go on the same day. Buddhist monks, acharyas, and Sanghanayakas used to stay there. Bhavikonda's significance is that it also yielded holy relics of Lord Buddha. You can see many number of chaityas, viharas, and other constructions on the vihara, many number of such things. I was also part of the excavation team way back in 1990 and up to 98, etc. So these are some of the structures. The bottommost is what we call the cells of a vihara. What is vihara? Buddha said, Vihara means ekasmin samaye buddho jetavane viharasmin. That is, Buddha once upon a time was actually staying at Jetavana monastery in Sravasti, like that, na? That is where Buddhist monks stay. The place is called as Vihara. And where Vihara, Stupa, Chaitya and other structures are constructed, it is called as an Arama, Jetavana Arama, like that. So these are some of the things, and you can also see when you see Buddhist monks going around or taking a circumambulation, it really becomes a live site. Yes, these are some of the structures there. Yes, in 1995, when reconstruction or conservation work is in process, February exactly, some 26 years ago, Buddhist holy relic caskets were recovered from Bavikonda Stupa from the southern side, from a big stone reliquary which resembles Buddha. Then after that, it is actually within which there is a terracotta one, within which there is a silver one, within which there are actually golden ones. That is the importance of the these things. One, excuse me, sir. Hello. ఒకటి రెండు మూడు అన్ని మూడు అవే ఒకే రకమైన ఇన్స్క్రిప్ట్, ఒకే రకమైన ఆకారం ఉంటుంది. యాక్చువల్గా భద్రకాళి, చండి, పార్వతి మూడు ఒకే రకం. అదే చెప్పేసి 1 2 3 వరుస. థ్యాంక్ యూ. నేను ఒక మీటింగ్లో ఉన్నా. సారీ సమ్ క్వరీ ప్రెస్ ఫ్రమ్ ద ప్రెస్. ఎస్, నెక్స్ట్ దిస్ ఈస్ తొట్లకొండ ఎంట్రన్స్. After that there was a small at the beginning, and after that the entire monastery you can see, that is the Arama from the top of what we call Bavikonda, this thing. Yes, this is again Totlakonda. I think Totlakonda was given very recently. You also have witnessed na all these again. Totlakonda means same Totlu systems rakat. This is actually the entire Vihara. That is Vihara. Then this is the recently rebuilt stupa, and that stupa before it was reconstructed, it looks like this. The entire stupa with fallen stumps of the pillars, etc. There is an 84 pillared congregation hall called as Upattana Sala. There are many number of art pieces which were used to decorate at the entrance of the stupa and on the top of the stupa. Yes, this is what we call the result of the recent conservation. Without proper knowledge they did it, so we are nothing to comment upon it. Pavaralakonda. Recently, Jaysri Hatangadi ma'am and other associates from Intact have organized a beautiful site visit to Pavaralakonda. What is Pavaralakonda? Huyan Song in 7th century AD refers it as what we call is Pavula Gamena. That is Pizian Hill. He calls it as Pizian Hill, and the local inscription refers it as Pavula Gamena, like that, which attests the fact that it was right from the beginning called as Pavaralakonda. And you have an extensive Buddhist sites covering more than 50 acres. 50 acres of land. There is stupa, there is vihara, there are many number of small votive stupas, and again 9 rock cut cisterns. And at the back on the right side, you can see a corner, there is a building called as Dutch building, which was built in 18th century AD. Still it is surviving. You can notice some important artifacts are scattered. This is Nagamusulinda of 1st century AD. Then again you also have this Naga Musulinda and Bharavahaka Yaksha, Dwarapalas, etc. This is a very big rock cut cistern where Buddhist monks used to use water stored in this one during the rainy retreat, and the steps of the rock cut cistern were rock cut also. There is yes, this is again when it is with water. Yes, now crying for attention. Now, thanks to the Vizag heritage, Vizag Intact chapter for its awareness campaign. Kalingapatnam, again, if you go a little forward from Salihundam, you come across a very beautiful stupa, though it is in ruins, but we can feel the aesthetics of that ruin. It looks like a stupa that all of a sudden has fallen down. That is in 3rd century AD. Now we are looking at the stupa, which was renovated during 3rd century AD, whose foundation was laid in 4th century BC. Kalingapattana. Some people identify Kalinganagara with it, but there were many people say that from this particular port only people have moved to Sri Lanka, etc. Yes, this is the entire monastery of Kalingapatna. Now, whenever you are there, surrounding places, kindly go and visit those places. Yes, now down south 40 kilometers to Visakhapatnam is a wonderful live monastery. Live monastery means minus Buddhist monks, but it is enlivened with visit of the people. It is located on hilltop, and on the plains also. You also on the hill there are two spots. On one spot it is carved with cave. It is hewn with caves. On the other side it is hewn with stupas. On the third side you have got a very big Chaityagraha built of brick. We will come across. You see, it is not during the Buddha Jayanti, my dear respected participants. It is not during the Buddha Jayanti. It is on Sivaratri. Can you know? It is called locally as Lingalametta. All the sopas are converted into lingas. Most of the people, without having awareness that these are the abodes of the Buddhist monks and remnants of the Buddha Dhamma, they branded it as Seva temple. And during on the Sivaratri, you cannot count the people in such a huge number. They visit Namah Shivaya bolte in place of Namo Buddhaya. Yes, if you enter into the caves, yes, come, what a wonderful, beautiful rock cut sculptures of the Buddha flanked on either side by what we call Buddhist attendants. It is so nice, na? So nice. Next is, these are called as sopas. These are called votive sopas. If I go there, I will give some money to the local sculptor. Yes, my dear sculptor, please carve a stupa for me, or hew a stupa for me, like that. Na? So similarly, over a period of time during the Satavahana phase, hundreds of stupas were cut out from the live rock. These are originally stupas, you all know, in architectural terms also. But what happened was, in a later phase, they were called as both Lingalametta and Bodzannakonda. Bodzanna is none other than Vinayaka. A sculpture of Ganesha was carved in 6th century AD. Then it is called as Bodzannakonda. So you see what a damage has been caused to such a pristine, original, authentic Buddhist site. It is our collective responsibility to keep quiet. This is, can you see, the natural outcrop has been converted and shaped into a stupa, and to render a circular stupa plan, they have encased it with brick masonry. Yes, this is the on the river Tandava. It is very, very, very beautifully located. If you go on the hilltop, you again lose yourself. You want actually to join in the Buddhist order. No doubt that Rokkan sir, Rajan Garu, you please visit that and wear saffron robes. You join the Buddhist order and you become a monk by visiting Shankaram Hill. I am requesting you. Next. Yes, Gopalapatnam is a wonderful site near Tuni. From Tuni, you have to go to Payakraupeta. From Payakraupeta, some 5 to 6 kilometers, you come across a hill, small hill range. On the hills, you have got a stupa called at Gopalapatnam. It is just terraced stupa, not our own this thing. Terraced stupa architecture comes from Gandhara region. We really don't know. That is cultural contacts or inroads of cultural these things. And this where we got, yes, this is a very beautiful stupa built on the hilltop. Again, you also have got vihara in front of that stupa. Yes, there are Kapavaram, again, come down. Kapavaram is a place where Buddhist rock cut monuments are there. It is located 25 kilometers from Rajahmundry. These are what to call again for the Buddhist monks to stay during the rainy season, 4 months only, because they are not supposed to move around during the rainy season. Only the households will provide necessary food for the monks for only one time. You all know that Buddhist monks never eat twice a day. They take meal only once a day, that too before 12 o'clock. Akala bhojanam viramane sikka padam samadhyami. That is, we take oath that I cannot take meals when I untimely. So this is they take only one meal a day, then they contemplate meditation, they refer scriptures, they preach Dhamma during the 4 months. These are so beautifully carved during 1st century BC. What a beautiful, even still today, there are arrangements for fixing windows and doors. There are arrangements for the drain water to come out from inside. So you see how engineering uh, what we call advancement of engineering skills went into making of these caves during those days, 2000 years back. All the architectural members, all the forms and plans of the Buddhist caves, stupas, chaityas were later day copied and adopted by the succeeding faiths. I cannot name the religion, please. Next, yes, on the Kapavaram, you also have the beautiful Chaityagraha, very big Chaityagraha and votive stupas and stupa. And there is a very big cistern is there. Can you notice it's a very long cistern in oblong thing. This is meant only not for bathing of the Buddhist monks. It is only for what we call saffron robes ke liye coloring daltana, that is for color coating. This is again. Yes, now come to a wonderful sight. Now, most of our Buddhist society members hail from that. Most of the office bearers of the Buddhist society, like Tadi Suresh Garu, Aduru Bhupati Garu, then Sri Ramurthy Garu, many other people come from the same place, because I feel whenever I saw, they are filled with quite calm, peace and serenity, because of the fact that they are born there, they brought over there, then they really inhaled what we call Uchvasa Nichvasa Anapana Sati me Baudh Dam hai, us vaste they are so calm, pleasant. So they come from Adurru. Most of the people say that it is not Adurru, it is Adivuru. That is the earliest village of the entire coastal Andhra, where during the Satavahana phase, even during the 3rd century BC, they say that there was foundations of the stupa were laid during Asokan times. In succeeding Satavahana times, they raised the stupa. During the Ikshvaku times, they constructed the wheel-shaped plan. That is only during 3rd century AD. It was thoroughly renovated, elevated, and all the surroundings were encased. The circumference was encased with the beautiful Buddhist panel sculptures. After that, though they were removed. Yes, this is, you can have the wonderful picturesque spot of the remains of the Buddha in lush green. Yes, this is in course of renovation of the stupa there. Yes, now it is an aerial view of the Aduru stupa. Won't all of us feel to visit that place? Yes, myself, I visited many a time, but kindly, people who didn't visit so far, kindly pay a visit to Aduru and enjoy or meditate for some time, recollect the flourishing state of Buddhism there, which really established contact to Southeast Asian countries. You see, that is river Vasishta, Godavari, many number of beautiful water bodies are there. And again, you all know that it is part of Konasima. Konasima is none other than a slice of Kerala in this coastal Andhra. You really enjoy a lot. You resonate yourself with the hummings of the Dhamma so silently, with the waving of the what we call the trees. Next is that even this Buddhist stupa, nowadays what happens was, it is located on a very corner, far away, and more it is, since it is not located on the regular highway, so most of the people are not visiting. But knowing the importance of the monument, people from Nepal, people from Myanmar, people from Sri Lanka are visiting. Even Tibetan monks, some 80 Buddhist Tibetan monks have visited Aduru, but we have not visited. Let us visit. Yes, we can visit. So, thank you so much for giving me such a nice opportunity. Sir, ma'am, I am stopping here.
Thank you so much, sir. It was an in-depth talk on the Buddhist side, sir, and we gained so much knowledge from you.
No.
If there are any questions, you may ask, sir.
సార్ నేను ఒక ప్రెజెంటేషన్ లో ఉన్నాను సార్, ఇది అవంగానే చేస్తాను, అందుకనే కట్ చేశాను సార్. సార్ మోస్ట్ వెల్కమ్ సార్. ఐఎమ్ సారీ టు పిక్ అప్ 1 or 2 calls because continuously they are ringing.
If you have any questions, you may ask, sir.
Yes, I am very happy if Dhamma bell is ringing, but not.
Yes, sir. Srinivas Reddy garu wants to ask something.
Sir, please. Himakar Tata ji.
Himakar ji, Srinivas Reddy ji.
Yeah, I don't have questions. I have only appreciations. I have noted everything while he was talking that can be seen through. And for me, it's a revelation. Well, I'm actually a Pravasi Andhra who relocated to Andhra rather late in life. So I was not aware of Aduru, Kapavaram, and Gopalapatnam. So I think that warrants that I take a taxi and see all these places. Thank you so much, sir, for this detailed presentation. And as I've mentioned my comments, there is energy in your voice, and that keeps us motivated, making us, leading us deeper and deeper into your subject. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Will be to these sites, sir. We'll definitely make through entire Vishakhapatnam.
Yeah, East Godavari is relatively unknown to many people who are in the urbanized sectors of Vizag. Yeah.
Sir,
A little bit light.
don't mind.
Yes, Srinivas Reddy garu, please.
Professor Nagireddy garu, very thankful to you for giving a very enlightened lecture and making the people of Andhra to know the rich heritage of Buddhism here.
Thank you.
And may I draw the attention of all the participants. In fact, this lecture, the content of the lecture should come in the form of a write-up in the newspapers and also in TV. And what is important here is not to just to know the impact of Buddhism in Andhra in the yesteryears, but what we should know is, imagine the kind of the structures that were raised on the hilltops, right from Srikakulam, Kalingandhra, so many places, the amount of expenditure that have been incurred, the number of people who are involved in it, and the heart level operation. And unless and otherwise, there is a great movement in Andhra, the participation of the lay people, public, such a rich historical heritage would not have been there. One should try to reconstruct the times, those times, and quantify the kind of, people who are involved in the whole thing. When such a big movement was there in Andhra, such a philosophical heights, peace, non-violence kind of movement. I mean, when Andhra people are were having the tradition, we are the inheritors of such kind of great, philosophical things. Where are we in Andhra? I think by trying to trace the history, this can give a lesson to the people, make the people to feel that we can still live like those days. Thank you. Thank you.
Recently,
For your kind comment.
Recently, Shivnagi garu.
Ma'am.
Yeah, recently, as you know, that people have been visiting. I've been taking them in enthusiast to so many of the sites. And every time they hear, because your lectures have been constantly sort of strengthening my own delivery when I'm at the sites. So the amount of energy, the amount of knowledge that can be imparted at these sites is amazing. So some of them is like every part of Theravada or Mahayana that we speak at these sites, the amazement that people have. For some reason, these sites have stayed on with us. And it is so much for us, while we care, while we conserve, our awareness, our connection, bridging with these sites is extremely important. And I think the last, while you are talking, I've also been taking so many people to so many sites recently. And you have always been encouraging me, making sure that you assist me with so much more information. I must thank you. What a beautiful, in-depth presentation. Really wonderful.
No. I am a very small man. Buddha says, he was actually moving from one place to another place. He was in one forest. What happens was, one Buddhist monk was so, with there is no ahankara in Buddhism, but one Buddhist monk feels that he knows everything. Then Buddha takes some leaves, fistful of leaves, and he asks the Buddha, "What is this? What is the Buddha? Fistful." So when it is fistful, we know fistful only. You see the plenty of leaves all around. Compare with the less quantity of the leaves in my hand and compare with that one. So we also know little bit, okay, he says. Sir. I am also a small man submitting to all of you. Just it is actually time being I am pouring information like whatever. But as Srinivas Reddy Garu said rightly, the talk always should be intertwined with what we call the impact of Buddhism at each and every site, rampant on the people living in and around.
In
And
and
again,
around, yes.
impact of the Buddhist philosophers. What happened was in Guntupalli. Guntupalli is again next to Guntupalli because we have to cross the river. I don't want to cross the river because southernmost Kalinga terminates at the left bank of river Godavari only. On the right bank we have Guntupalli. Guntupalli caves mein Acharya Dinnaga has lived. Acharya Dinnaga was like an elephant among the logicians. Then Kalidasa, he is contemporary of Kalidasa. Kalidasa says in Meghdut, "Oh Meg, don't go towards Mahanaga Parvata. Be aware of the presence of greatest monk logician Dinnaga is there. Don't go there." So he himself acknowledged. Kalidasa has acknowledged the greatness of the logician Dinnaga who stayed in Mahanaga Parvata, identified with Guntupalli Buddhist caves. Thank you. Many such things are there. Srinivas Reddy Garu, thank you. From my next speech onwards, I will do that exercise also. Thank you.
Thank you.
Would like to thank Mayank ji also for organizing it for us for the Intact chapter Vizag. Thank you, Mayank ji.
Yes, Mayank ji also carries the Buddhist heritage, Maya. Maya Devi is the mother of Siddhartha, so a part of it we can recollect and remember.
I have a question or a suggestion.
Sir.
Mayank ji, with your permission.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I have a suggestion for charting out the roadmap ahead. Since Dr. Sivnagareddy Garu is associated with the government and tourism,
yes.
Can we have local tourism boards of each district, like East Godavari? I've traveled in Amlapuram. I've gone through the usual Hindu temples and other sites, but this part was unknown to me. I blame myself. But at the same time, I think the government, the tourism department or state government should have local bodies. Otherwise, this localized information will go waste. Because when a person plans an itinerary, he just touches the major cities. All these rural interior unknown. So I think with the aid of state government and historians, archaeologists, they can build up a roadmap for tourists ahead. Otherwise, lose a heritage. This is my suggestion. I don't know how far I'm correct.
Sir, may I just respond to it, sir?
Yeah.
Thing is that I was associated with AP tourism and archaeology from 1999 to 2012 or 13 when I retired. Then what happened was, in each and every district, as you said, there is a body called District Tourism Promotion Council, DTPC. Is there. The district collector himself is the chairperson, but they are defunct. They meet once in a while just for what we call to fulfill the criteria of periodical meetings as per the society law. After that, they don't do anything. So we cannot rely upon them. What we can do is this BSI. BSI chapters are there in Amalapuram, Visakhapatnam, Gondi Naveen Garu. Many such people are there. Sir, we can tie up, or I can give the information on Buddhist sites and monuments, where exactly it is located. I am now preparing a map, sir, a comprehensive map of Buddhist heritage, spotting each and every place, and on the back side of the map, we will have little information on the site itself and its location. Then if you want further details, there will be some referral books given. and websites will also be given.
Sir,
And we cannot rely upon government. Hattangadi ma'am knows.
Sir, in such a beautiful site like Bajjanakonda, we have two very, very important boards. Way to toilet, way to drinking water. That's all.
Only boards. It is
Only
like that.
two boards.
What
Two boards which say.
no, at most of the protected sites, there will be a board that the site is protected under the act.
500 rupees fine.
It is also amidst the thorny bushes and shrub jungle. Sorry.
But they have got 7.5 crores to do a lot of things now. That is what we were told. ASI received it, I believe.
But ma'am, we can do one thing, ma'am. We can address a letter to the Chief Secretary straight away because he is head of the state.
Yes.
That would be more effective, I think, because other people cannot do anything. They simply, if you write a letter, the letter will again pile up one after the another. They will be there. They say that we have our own constraints. Chief Secretary will definitely write a letter. They have to answer for him.
Wonderful.
Kindly address the letter. Ma'am.
Yeah, I think we should meet as a body of BSI or INTAC. Otherwise, I tried individually for railway heritage at Bitragunta. Despite my past record as a civil servant with connections, I couldn't go much. I think we should represent form bodies. As individual efforts, it peters away.
Yes.
No, otherwise, sir, it won't make a dent.
A letter from INTAC carries a lot of weight, sir. They give maximum weightage to INTAC. The word, what we call is, it is a regular. They say that we shall not be criticized by INTAC is the everyday word in government offices.
Excellent.
Thank you, sir.
Ayya, namaskaram.
నమస్తే నానేనా
సార్ పేరు సార్ ఇక్కడ పేరు రావట్లేదు సార్. ప్రసాద్ గారు, నా పాలకోడేటి ప్రసాద్ గారు, నమస్కారం. అయ్యా అయ్యో ఏదో సార్ క్రాస్ టాకింగ్ వచ్చి వినపట్లేదు సార్. క్రాస్ టాకింగ్ ఉంది, వినపట్లేదు. మాట్లాడండి సార్ ప్లీజ్.
సార్ మీకు హెడ్ ఫోన్ ఉంటే తీసేయండి. సమ్ టైమ్స్ హెడ్ ఫోన్
చెప్పండి సార్ ప్లీజ్. నాకు ఇప్పుడు వినపట్లేదు సార్, ఇబ్బందిగా ఉంది. వాయిస్ అసలు కంప్లీట్ గా వినపట్లేదు సార్. ఏదో సమ్ ప్రాబ్లం. ఇప్పుడు మాట్లాడుతున్నారు, కొంచెం వెనక్గా మాట్లాడండి. కొంచెం వినపడుతుందండి.
ఓకే, మీరు ఎక్స్కవేట్ చేసినప్పుడు చాలా రెలిక్ క్యాస్కెట్స్ వచ్చాయి, రెలిక్స్ వచ్చాయని చెప్పారు.
అవునవును.
ఈ రెలిక్స్ అన్ని హైదరాబాద్ పట్టుకెళ్ళారు.
అవును, ఇప్పుడు ఇస్తున్నారు సార్. నౌ ఇస్తున్నారు, ఇప్పుడే నౌ టేకింగ్ ఓవర్, హ్యాండింగ్ ఓవర్ ఈస్ బీయింగ్ డన్.
ఈజ్ ఇట్ బీయింగ్ డన్? ఓకే,
100%. ఇంతవరకు చేయలేదు. నౌ హాఫ్ ఆఫ్ ఇట్ ఈస్ టేకెన్ ఓవర్, half is they are halfway through. By end of February, everything of our will come. Then your Buddhist holy caskets are also listed to be handed over to Andhra government. Then please try those to come to Visakhapatnam.
సరేనండి. ఇంకొకటి ఏంటంటే, మీ టాక్ లో బొజ్జునకొండ మహాశివరాత్రి నాడు జనం చూపించారు మీరు.
అవును,
మహాశివరాత్రి కనుమ నాడు పెద్ద ఫెస్టివల్ చేస్తారు.
నేను నాకు తెలియదు కానీ ఒకసారి
ఫెస్టివల్ చేస్తారు. జనం అంతా అక్కడికి వెళ్ళి
I welcome and correct it, sir.
అది కనుమ అండి.
ఈవెన్ శివరాత్రి నాడు కూడా వెళ్తారు.
చేసిన కనుమ నాడు ఇంకా ఎక్కువ మంది తిరునాళ్ళ.
అవును, దిస్ ఈ గ్యాదరింగ్ బహుశా కనుమనాడు అయి ఉంటుందండి.
ఫోటో అది.
వెరీ గుడ్, వెరీ గుడ్.
తర్వాత ఇంకొక ఇంపార్టెంట్ విషయం ఏంటంటే, తొట్లకొండ ప్రతి వాళ్ళకి అదే కావాలి, తొట్లకొండే కావాలి. అది ఎప్పుడు ఆపుతారు?
లవర్స్ ప్యారడైజ్ సార్ అది.
లవర్స్ ప్యారడైజ్ కాదు, ఈవెన్ పొలిటీషియన్స్ ప్యారడైజ్, ఈవెన్ గవర్నమెంట్ ప్యారడైజ్ అది.
సార్ తొట్లకొండ స్టేట్ గవర్నమెంట్ కంట్రోల్ సార్. Totlakonda is the state government control.
Yes.
And Bojjanakonda, Anakapalli is central government control.
బావికొండ ఇస్ స్టేట్ గవర్నమెంట్, అందుకనే దానికి ల్యాండ్ కావాలి ప్రతి వానికి తొట్లకొండ మీద.
Yes sir.
When are you going to distort that history? Stop distorting the history.
Yes we
కట్టేస్తా ఉంటారు, కడతా ఉంటారు, బోల్డ్ డబ్బులు వస్తున్నాయి బావికొండ తొట్లకొండ కన్సిడర్ చేయడానికి, ఓన్లీ బిల్డింగ్ కట్టడానికి వాడుతున్నారు.
అంటే అట్లా కాదు సార్, యాక్చువల్ గా ఒకటి హైదరాబాద్ లోను తర్వాత మిగతా చోట్ల హెరిటేజ్ కమిటీ ఈజ్ సో పవర్ఫుల్ ఇన్ హైదరాబాద్. సిమిలర్లీ we should also have a heritage committee to control and oversee the
heritage committee. We have been asking for a heritage committee for the last 15-20 years. Where is that heritage committee?
Arre.
According to the heritage committee, you see the reference. What is supposed to start the heritage committee? We are murdered. Where is that heritage committee?
ఎవరో ఒక మంచి
సార్
అయ్యా
శివనారాయణ, నా పేరు వంశీధర్ సార్. ఐఎమ్ డాక్టర్ వంశీధర్ ఫ్రమ్ Usman University, working for Usman University as an assistant professor, Department of Philosophy.
ఓ నమస్కారం అండి.
Sir, namaskaram sir. We have met so many times in Hyderabad, somewhere in seminars and all, in Warangal also. So it was great lecture by you, sir. It's very wonderful and very energetic. But I did my PhD on Buddhism, sir. Out of that interest, I want to ask you one thing, sir. Are there any sites around Hyderabad city and in Hyderabad? Is there any chance to know about the Buddhist sites in Hyderabad?
Buddhist sites.
Yeah, sir. I want to ask you that thing, sir.
Hyderabad itself is a Buddhist site. Chaitanya Puri, where now I am standing, behind my house there is a 4th century AD inscription, Govinda Raja Vihara. Govinda Raja Vihara of the 4th century AD. Yes, Chaitanya Puri is a Buddhist site.
So how can we find it out, sir?
Yeah, that is inscription is there on the rock. There is an inscription of 4th century AD which mentions that Govinda Raja has donated something to the Vihara named after him in 4th century AD.
Okay.
Hyderabad itself is a Buddhist site. Then if you go to BHCL side, there is a place called Kandi. There is a place called Pati next to BHCL. Those two are Buddhist sites. Kondapur is a Buddhist site. So all around Hyderabad you have Buddhist sites. Sir?
Towards Sangareddy, no sir? Kandi.
కంది పాటి కూడా PATI అని ఒక విలేజ్ ఉంటుంది. పాటి అంటే పాటిమట్టి. తర్వాత రామేశ్వరం, దాని పక్కనే మీకు రామేశ్వర బండ అని ఒక ఊరు ఉంటుంది. రామేశ్వర బండ ఈజ్ ఎ బుద్ధిస్ట్ సైట్. We collected Buddhist small pieces of sculptures. Then Kondapur is a Buddhist site. అట్లా చాలా ఉన్నాయి. జనానికి తెలియట్లా.
That's what, sir. And ఇక్కడ ఓల్డ్ సిటీలో కూడా కొన్ని ఉన్నాయన్నారు సార్.
సార్
ఓల్డ్ సిటీ
వినపట్లేదండి.
ఓల్డ్ సిటీ.
No.
Okay. Fine. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Nice of you.
Thank you, sir.
Nice of you.
Thank you, sir. On behalf of Intact Visakhapatnam chapter, I thank you heartily for giving this speech, and it was so encouraging and so knowledgeable. We've gained so much from you, sir, today.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
In future also, we would like to invite you to give talks on the temples that you have restored and renovated.
Definitely, ma'am.
Yes,
It is my pleasure.
Thank you so much, sir.
So, I thank all the learned participants once again. Namo Buddhaya.
Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
ఈ మనీ గారు డబ్బులు పంపించండి.
రొక్కం మీరు.
అందుకే మాకు డబ్బులు పంపించాలి.
పంపిస్తాను సార్.
పంపించండి.
అలాగే
రివర్స్.
ఆర్య భూపేన్ జీ.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
வணக்கம் ரொம்ப நல்லது நீங்க கடைசி வரைக்கும் இருந்துட்டீங்க.
Yes, sir. It was a pleasure.
Sir, on 9th, I am giving Rajaram sir asked me to give a talk on Buddhism in Tamil Nadu. On 9th, I am giving a talk.
Right.
Buddhism. Shivasankar Babuji.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Sir. You are an illustrated personality.
Actually, Tamil Nadu has a challenge. People are not so familiar with Buddhism. People are more familiar with old monk than the Buddhist monk.
Yes.
So that will be a good challenge for you to convert them into as Buddhist monks. And definitely we look forward to the talk.
We can talk something on that day, sir. Bodhidharma, Buddhagupta, many people are there.
Yes.
Buddha.
A small anecdote on you had a beautiful story on the relic of Buddha, the tooth of Buddha in Kandi.
Yes.
Actually, there is an interesting after story to this. During 13th century, Kulasekara Pandya from Madurai, he invaded Kandi, he plundered and he brought the Buddhist relic back to Madurai.
Yes.
Yeah, it was in Madurai for some time, and then the later king came,
Sorry to interrupt you,
made a
sir.
deal, and then brought it back to Kandi.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir. I think
Yes,
we
sir.
have crossed our time, so we have to close this.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Right? Thank you very much.
But it was
a
wonderful,
very pleasant thing.
wonderful knowing so much from you, and thank you for joining us, sir.
Once again, thank you,
Look
Mayank.
forward to it.
Once again, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Mrs. Mayank. Thank you, Dr. Sivanagi Reddy garu. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank you
Temaya
all.
garu. Thank you.
ఆయన పోనీ వస్తున్నాయి